Good evening, morning, or afternoon, wherever you are. Today's game is gonna be a fun one. We've got the beginning of the Grunfeld Defense, it looks like. The game started with d4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3, now d5. And yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. I am going to play the move e3. And not obviously give him the chance to play the Grunfeld, personally speaking, because I think that black gets a lot of play if you allow this Grunfeld to happen with c takes d5, followed by e4, knight takes c3, b takes, then they play bishop g7, you play knight f3, something like that, they play c5, etc. It basically, black gets a lot of pressure on this white center, and my experience ultimately ends up typically being able to successfully crack open that center. Let's do knight f3. Yeah, we're just gonna play this like a king's, like a queen's gambit decline, essentially. We'll see how it plays out. So let's just play bishop d3 now. If he takes on c4, great. We'll take back with the bishop. We'll have a pretty solid, easy game. Excuse me. Bishop g4, h3. Bishop takes f3. Queen takes f3. She'll be fine. Will be fine for us. Yeah, that's probably the most aggressive way to attack this, approach this, the way that I'm playing the game, which is trying to keep things pretty closed and maintain the pawns in the center. So the way he responded does make a lot of sense. Let's go ahead and castle and just get this king out of the center. The central tension can remain for the most part. I think that I want white to take. Either way he takes, I will capture back. So if d takes c5 or c4, I'll take with the bishop. In this particular scenario, I don't want... I don't think I want the isolated pawn. So I'm going to take with a knight, even if that allows this e5 move. I think I'm okay with that. I think I am okay with it. I'm pretty sure he's going to play this move e5 here. That's the most logical way to approach this. And I wish I could play the knight back to f3, but unfortunately there's e4. So my knight's going to have to find another spot. Probably it's going to go to e2 or something like that. But knight e2 also runs into this move e4, followed by d takes c4. So I have to be kind of conscious of that scenario as well. But actually now on second thought, after e5, knight e2, e4, bishop c2. If d takes c4, then I believe I can just take the pawn on e4 in that case, right? Because I'll have the bishop and the knight on c3 pointing at it. But I do need to find some way to get this dark square bishop out sooner rather than later. If I don't do that, that's going to become an issue for me. Definitely will become an issue. Mehil BR is a pretty strong player. It looks like 2000 in Blitz, 2144 in Rapid, 2001 in Classical, 2147 in Bullet. So we know if we go into a time scramble, he's gonna be formidable. Does knight c2 make any sense at all? Oops. I'm going to play knight c2. I kind of like this idea of playing knight c2 instead of the e2 move. The black center at the moment looks pretty strong, but it's going to break down here in a second. There's no way he can support the d5 pawn. So d5 is going to fall, you know. And when that happens, I mean, the entire center will really be just the e5 pawn. He will still definitely have a very strong bishop on g7. That's going to be his biggest weakness here. I mean, strength here. And my weakness definitely is going to be the bishop on c1 in comparison. So I do need to get that bishop out quickly. That's my biggest concern at this point. Overall, the opening did turn out well for him, I think. I believe that white's position is not the greatest. Black is doing slightly better. I'm hoping perhaps trading off the active pieces might help a little bit, like especially this queen. My bishop on d3 really isn't well placed actually. But I'm pretty sure he's not going to want to trade queens here. He's going to play something like queen. Oh, that move also works. Makes sense. So I'm going to try to trade off everything here. I'm going to play rook d1. The idea is to play bishop d2 and bishop e1 followed by rook d1. I like that my knight is well placed to stop any kind of knight b4 business. It's a nice move. Definitely a nice move. So if I play bishop d2 now, he plays rook d1, bishop e1. Should be okay, I think. Like, I don't have to move this knight from c2. I think the knight is fine there. Oh, I see a problem now. Bishop e1, rook takes d1, rook takes, bishop takes c2. So he's gonna get the two bishops for the rook. I mean bishop and knight, sorry, for the rook. Well, not a whole lot I can do to prevent that, really. But I do think that my bishop needs to go on this square, though. Rook d1, bishop c2, rook d7, knight a5 is not possible, so he has to play b6. Then I can play rook c7. He can then try perhaps bishop e4, f3, bishop d5, e4. Eventually he has to let go of the knight. And then the a7 pawn will fall. So just follow along with me, this line. Rook takes d1, rook takes d1, bishop takes c2, rook d7. He has to guard the b pawn. So let's just say he plays b6 or b5. Then I play rook c7. The knight now has to be guarded, right? Because if the knight moves, then the a7 pawn will fall. So the knight now gets guarded by the bishop. So if bishop then to a4, then obviously b3 is going to be... Bishop b3, bishop b5, a4 is going to trap that bishop. And if bishop e4, then I have f3, and then bishop, I don't know, d5 or something like that. Then I have e4, kicking the bishop off from being able to defend that knight, I believe. Because there is no, like, for example, bishop e4, f3, bishop f5, e4. Yeah, that's it. As soon as he plays bishop f5, then the knight on c6 is not defended anymore, so I could just take it. So ultimately, he can get the bishop and knight, but I will get the rook and a pawn. Now, he will have the two bishops, though. He will have the bishop pair, that's for sure. So my rook and bishop, We'll have to go against that. It's the only thing here that we need to worry about. So he plays h5. That is an interesting move. If I play knight b4, he moves his knight back somewhere. Then a5 is going to come with a tempo on my knight. That's the thing. So let's instead play... Let's offer him the trade. Let's just see what he says. I'll come back with rook c1 or something like that. He'll play a5. Sure, okay, I'll then go back to c2. But let's see if he takes it. He might just take it. I definitely want to be able to get in the moves. So he took it. I want to be able to get in the moves f3 and e4, I think. Those two moves will help me a lot. So I think I know where my bishop needs to go. Okay, so he then... Okay, so he opens up an attack on this b2 pawn. Which is not an issue. I have rook b1. I even have bishop a3 here. But I think rook e1, or b1, sorry, makes the most sense here. Uh-oh. That's a bad move. Bishop takes b2 now. That's a blunder. Oh, he missed it. Fantastic. Do this. I need to coordinate my pieces. That's my problem, is that my pieces are not coordinated right now. His pieces are very well coordinated. His bishop pair is way better than my bishop pair. Which is why I believe I need to trade off one of his bishops. I'm going to play king f1, king e1. Because I need the d file controlled by something. I think bishop here makes a lot of sense. So then I'm going to play king e1. Uh-oh. Did I make another mistake? Uh-oh. Shoot. Yep, mistake. A2 pawn is a problem now. Ah, man. It's freaking unfortunate. I need to stay active here. I can't just sit around, so I'm gonna have to play that move. Oh no. Oh, never mind. It's got this massive pawn storm coming at me. I do have one idea. I'm gonna try. Bishop takes, rook a1 check. Bishop d1, bishop b3 is not possible. I think I should be okay. I think I can win that b6 pawn now because rook a6, bishop b2. Do I want to play for a draw or do I want to win this game? Probably a draw, honestly. I'm down a pawn. Not much I can do here. So, that's a lucky escape, really, because I was definitely losing this one, I think. And let's look at this one. Let's request a computer analysis. Oh wow, I had 3 blunders in this game. He had no blunders. Okay, well, let's look. D4, knight f6, okay. So now the Grunfeld. I played e3, which is the decline variation essentially. Oh, people play queen b3 here. Interesting move. I play knight f3. Bishop d3. Probably the bishop is probably a little bit better on e2, I think, yeah. Makes a little bit more sense to put it on e2. The d3 bishop just kind of gets in the way of the queen being able to move out, and yeah. I think next time I'll put the bishop on e2. So here... And I didn't take with the e-pawn, even though that would make a lot of sense. Like, you're capturing towards the center, you're maintaining a center pawn, you're opening up the dark square bishop. The reason I didn't take with the pawn is because I don't want to have to play with the isolated pawn. I generally favor positions where I'm playing against the isolated pawn and not with the isolated pawn personally. So for those reasons, I decided to take with the knight. So people usually play knight b3 here. Okay, that's interesting. I should have considered that more. I don't know why I only looked at e2 and c2. I should have definitely considered knight b3. I did consider knight b5, but I thought that after a6, my knight has to come back to a3, and that's definitely not a square I want the knight. But b3 makes a lot of sense here, actually. I played c2. And definitely I'm already worse here. My pieces are just very uncoordinated, which is a theme that stayed with me the entire game. And that's what happens when you have a locked-in bishop and not enough central control. So this game basically is a result of my weak bishop on c1 not being able to get out and not having a pawn in the center, and the pawn on e3 being, blocking that bishop. As a result, I had a lot of coordination issues, and to uncoordinate my pieces, it cost me a lot of time. And in that time, my opponent was able to find a lot of resources and coordinate his pieces a lot better than me. So I started trading because I was, like I said, my pieces are kind of stepping on each other's toes. So I wanted to get rid of them to try to have some more maneuver. Whenever you feel cramped, it's a good idea to start trading pieces. So I offered as many trades as I could here. Bishop e2. More trades. Again, I kept offering him trades with this move now. Oh, e4 here makes sense. Okay, I see why a computer is suggesting e4. Just to get that dark square bishop out quickly, and also to stop black from being able to play e4 to open up his dark square bishop. So e4 definitely made a lot of sense. I should have definitely considered that strongly. After e4, my bishop is coming out to e3, etc. And then my rooks are coming into d and c files, and I should have a good position there. So I played this. Bishop d2, rook d1, bishop c3, h5, played knight b4 here. He took the knight. I took e4, opens up his mighty powerful bishop now. The one on g7, pointing straight towards my queen side. So bishop c3 is recommended, which gets rid of the bishop on c3, but also gives me this terrible pawn structure. And I briefly considered it, but the moment I saw that he can mess up my pawn structure, I kind of ignored it. But that might have been the way to go here, actually, because this bishop on g7 is super powerful. Yeah, so that was a mistake, because he can just take on b2 now. And if rook takes b2, then rook takes d1 is checkmate. So I definitely missed that tactic there. Which is the reason why bishop c3 or a3 are the only moves, I think. So what happens if bishop a3? There's a5. Okay. So he's going to play b5 and b4 now. That's another problem. So yeah, that makes sense. So he missed that, so I played b3, then this. King f1, best move. Bishop a3 just doesn't make a lot of sense because now bishop doesn't guard the d2 square anymore. So the bishop needed to come back to e1 to keep track of d2 from the rook. Keep that square away from his rook to penetrate into my position. So that's why bishop a3 is a mistake. I think it's a blunder straight up, because after rook d2, I am just simply losing a pawn, and also this rook gets extremely powerful now. Oh gosh, here I just dropped a piece. I didn't even realize this until just now. Bishop c1, rook takes d1 drops the bishop. That's crazy. And I had so much time. I had 3 minutes and I made that move. That's insane. I'm absolutely losing here. I don't want to trade bishops with him because I'm left with bishops of the same color. And I felt that that might be a difficult draw, so I wanted to trade bishops, but also I wanted to trade the light square bishops. Perhaps. I don't know. Didn't want to trade. Being down a pawn gives me less of a fighting chance, I thought, practically speaking. So again, that's a blunder, because now I dropped the b3 pawn, so now bishop takes b3, rook takes b3, rook takes c1, drops the c1 bishop. Wow, so that's pretty insane. I didn't really have any option but to take on f8, really, for the most part. Wow. Yeah, these are things that are just now realizing. Again, he could have played bishop takes b3. Same tactic. So now bishop d6 is being suggested. The idea of the bishop b3, I think, is, yeah, just to gang up on the... put pressure on h pawn to get it to move. And then also play rook a3 and pressure the b3 pawn. So this allowed me to play b4, I believe, in this position. But I played this. And oh wow, he had f4 even, just breaking up the entire king side. Kind of kept shuffling pieces for a little bit here. Bishop here. b4 finally. Trying to get rid of that weakness and make b6 a weakness. And he fell right into it. And this is apparently a drawn position according to the computer now. I mean, I'm still slightly worse, but the engine actually recommends just giving up the b6 pawn and just going for a kingside pawn storm still. Rook a1, bishop d1, and then just, yeah, give up that pawn, basically. That's what it's saying to do. So here I thought about playing for some sort of win, but I just didn't see why or how. Given that I'm not up a pawn, it's a completely symmetrical structure. I mean, like, what would I play for here? He was low on time, but it's not one of those positions that he can just lose, you know, because he's low on time. It's very easy to find moves here. So I just repeated and took a draw. So yeah, very lucky one. I think I played bad, of course, very bad, but I think I am still happy with the game overall because I was able to fight back and maintain that strong fighting, you know, spirit despite being so much worse and losing for such a long time during the game. I kept just hanging on, and eventually pulled out this miraculous draw with this repetition here. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this game, and I hope to see you and catch you in my next game and video. It definitely helps me a lot if you subscribe to my YouTube channel and also leave in the comments your thoughts, just so I can read them and respond to each of them and make more videos that that you want to see. Take care.